Now, live from Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, voted #1 sports bar in America, here is your host, Andy Everett.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Walk-Ons, and welcome to the Frank Wilson Radio Show for this Wednesday evening. It is presented by Methodist Healthcare, and we are live at Walk-Ons on I-10. We got a lot to do tonight. We will visit with Frank Wilson here in just a second. We'll introduce you to Jacob LaFrance, who is the recruiting coordinator, player personnel director, if you will, for UTSA football. The Kristen Holt, Steven Henson, and Laura Neugebauer-Groff, the basketball coaches and volleyball coaches, will be on with us in just a little while. Let's get to Frank Wilson, who is out recruiting tonight and on his way to find another bird landing somewhere. Frank, good evening. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Andy?
Doing great. Let's talk about the truth that you got from the film assessment on Sunday after the Southern Miss game. What did you see that you can build on as we move into November and the final 4 games of the year?
Resiliency. A team that went behind early on, a defense that held field goals instead of touchdowns, an offensive unit that started some young players and played quality minutes, and a first game starter in JoJo Weeks, a young Brendan Brady at tailback, and on the defensive side, a young Corey Mayfield, and throughout our team continuing to develop both our current team of what needs to be improved right now, most imminently, and long term. And so we've invested sincerely in our football team and getting better right now, but also for the future.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with people since Saturday, and they were asking why JoJo played so much and Brendan Brady. And I said, listen, coaches never want to lose games. You're still trying to win games now. This season's not over, but you want to see what you have and see if these guys can help you right away, correct?
Yeah, to not take advantage of we've tried something. We've tried something for 7 weeks, and it hadn't worked. And last time, the definition of insanity was to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we're going to try something different to give us a chance to win this football game, and that's what we did.
How did Jordan do overall, the overall assessment of him? What was his game like and when you studied his film?
Not bad. Early on in the game, we started off giving him high percentage throws, and we did not complete them. I think, it was a typical first game freshman jitters, and we did not connect early on in the game and put us in tough positions. As the game went on, he began to get in the rhythm and settle down and do things that he had done in every week of practice preparation, which gave us pointed us in the direction of making the decision of starting him in the game. Those were the throws and the type of things that he had comfort with, and that we were productive against a very good defense. In our defense, he would move the ball up and down the field, and so we tried to do those things and cater to his strength. And early on, we did not connect. As the game went on, he started making better decisions and connecting on some of those plays, and we were able to get into some rhythm. So a slow start, but finished with a solid day.
All right, Brendan Brady played a lot in the second half. What did you see from what he was able to do for you?
He gave us a spark. He was a guy that went in there and was able to make people miss and was able to pick up yards after contact and move the ball down the field. And so we're very pleased with the job that he did. He caught 2 passes out of the backfield. He's a sure-handed guy. But he had his moments as well. He missed a block or 2, which can be expected. That's all a part of it. They have to be able to make those mistakes and rebound from them. And he was able to do so. I thought he had a good day and continues to progress each day as well.
Good to see Greg Campbell back in the lineup. He's been the guy that you can always count on when you need a pass reception to get the proper yards, all of those things this year, and he was spot on again against Southern Miss.
He was reliable. He was a guy that we can go to in critical situations that we can deliver a ball, and if it's in his catching radius, was able to catch it and pick up first downs and move the ball down the field. So it was certainly good to have Greg back into the fold.
And we don't talk about this a lot, but I thought Yanni Rutzis had one of his best games and really was a weapon for you to flip the field and put them in negative field position in the second half.
He was. He did an outstanding job in doing that. And you have guys like Blaze Moorhead and Dadrian Taylor who go down there and cover, who are kind of like the unsung guys. You have a great punt, but somebody got to get down in there and make the tackle inside the -yard line, and those guys have done an exceptional job. We're protecting him very well. You look at those guys back there, and Dominique Pastucci and David Enzadula, who's kind of the wall that's standing right in front of Yanni to allow him to be able to have comfort and punt those balls away. And those guys have done a great job, and Yanni has been very composed and have flipped the field, and the ball is turning over right now for him to give us advantage in field position opportunities.
You're taking advantage of the bye week with all the coaches out recruiting the rest of this week. Talk about what your goals are, what you try to accomplish during this time. I know you can't talk about specific players, but you're trying to get to December when you're going to have a big time to try to get some guys to sign.
Yeah, it's going to happen fast. We're at the back here of October, so it's November next week, right before you know it, and that leaves us 30 days outside of National Signing Day, or the first National Signing Day, the new National Signing Day in the early signing period. And so it's critical that we're able to go out and talk about our program and how important it is for these prospects to recognize that there's opportunity here. That we're a program that's continually growing, and we're looking for people to fit pieces. We'll lose some guys with our football team this year with attrition and graduation, things of that nature. And so we have quite a few that's committed already, and we have some that's close. So the plan is to be as close as possible to signing 23. 23 is our number. 25, but we're counting 2 that's already on our current team forward. So we'll sign 23 in this class and feel good about it. This signing class, this group of young men have been outstanding. They have a great relationship with one another. They're cohesive, and they kind of help recruit and champion our class. So we're excited about this crop of young men.
Well, Frank, we'll let you get on the plane and get to work and hopefully have some good success over the next few days, and we'll see you next week out here at Walk-Ons as we get ready for UAB.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Birds up.
All right. Frank Wilson with us. He's out there on the recruiting trail this week. And we're going to talk about recruiting in the next segment with Jacob LaFrance, who is UTSA's Director of Player Personnel. We'll discuss what all that means coming up. We'll also visit with Kristen Holt, Steve Henson, and Laura Groff in the next few segments as we roll on the Frank Wilson Radio Show. Wendy's uses fresh beef on every hamburger every day. Try it for yourself on a Dave's Double and taste the difference fresh beef makes. Fresh beef's available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. The Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from Walk-Ons and from Learfield. We are at Walk-Ons, the number one sports bar in America. You can come out here before, during, or after all the games. And Health Texas Medical Group is about your overall well-being, not just your health. Their commitment to you is outstanding care, every patient, every time. We are joined on the program by Jacob LaFrance. He is the recruiting coordinator, I guess, or director of player personnel, as it's officially listed. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Coach. Excited to be here.
Tell me a little bit about what your job is. What do you do every day to make sure that the staff is ready when players are going to be recruited and you're looking for that next star roadrunner?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different facets to it. Mainly what I try to do is put our coaches in the best position possible to recruit their areas and their position efficiently, as effectively as possible. So with that, there's 2 different phases to it. You probably hear Coach say all the time, we follow a process of identification, recruitment, and development. So my job comes in with the identification phase and the recruitment phase. So a lot of what I do is our initial player evaluations, where I'll go through a lot of high school tape, research a lot of data, and present those prospects to our staff. And then I do things with on-campus visits, official and unofficial visits. I'm in charge of planning and organizing those, as well as the camps that we host in the summer. I do some things from a roster management standpoint. So there's a lot of different areas and facets that the job covers.
All right. How many times does somebody come up to you and go, man, I watched this high school game the other day, and this guy can really play. You should go recruit him.
Yeah, it's crazy. We get hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. It's kind of actually hard to keep up with. So, but, yeah, you always hear of the high school legend. You got to check this guy out. He ran for 500 yards and this and that. So, yeah, it's one of those things that it's tough to sort through, but that, it's part of the territory and part of the job. So,
all right, I'm going to – we have a guy on campus here that's already been here. You recruited last year in Jordan Weeks. I'm kind of using him as a little bit of an example because here's a guy that threw for 5,000 yards in high school. And not necessarily just him, but anybody that you see these unbelievable stats on. How do you know that, okay, he can play at our level, or maybe he can't play at our level, or what are you looking for on that film that says we got to go recruit this guy?
Yeah, so stats are always a part of it. But outside of that, there's things that we rely on in that through our process. So there's position-specific criteria that we evaluate each prospect by, as well as, getting them. A huge part of the evaluation process for us is getting them on campus and putting them through a workout from our position coach during our summer camps. So yeah, stats are always it's part of the evaluation process, and it's something that gets your eye. Or if they do not have positive stats or put up a lot of numbers, you want to find out why. Is it a quarterback that he's the best player on their team, and he might not necessarily have a lot of receivers that are contributing, or their offensive line is not very good. So stats are part of it, but there's other things that we look into as well. So.
You mentioned the coaches all have different areas of the country that they recruit, different areas of the state, different high schools. How do you divide all that up?
Yeah, so majority of what we do, I would say probably 80% of what we do is in the state of Texas. So we start in San Antonio, make sure that we recruit the best athletes in San Antonio. We do not want them to leave the city, and then we branch out from there. So all 10 of our coaches have areas in the state, and so they have have a little over 100 schools in the state. So we're covering a vast area. And then outside of there, we do a little bit junior college recruiting out in California, Kansas, Arizona. And then we also recruit, Mississippi and Louisiana as well. But we focus mainly here in the state of Texas. And as you know, high school football here in the state of Texas is tremendous. And so a lot of the prospects that we found, in our first year here, when we spent some more time outside of the state, we can get that right here in our state of Texas. So.
And you also have to be cautious of the NCAA rules as to when you can contact players, when they can go out on visits, when you can make phone calls or texts, and you got to balance all that out too, right?
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it. We work hand in hand with Josh Dami, our compliance coordinator, in his office, and making sure that we do compliance education with our coaches, and that's part of what I do as well, is liaison between our compliance department and our staff. But yeah, there's rules. A lot of the coaches have been in it forever, so they understand when you can't call a prospect. But yeah, that's a big piece of it too.
And then you have another role in that you're kind of the advanced guy for our road trips. You're going to make sure the hotel's set up properly, the caterer's there with the food, so that when we show up on Friday, everybody gets fed and everybody has a room to sleep in.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget your chauffeur.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the fun part. I get to help out our director of football operation, Amanda Gilpin, and doing some advanced travel on Thursdays and getting there in advance of the team and meeting with the hotel on Friday and make sure that everything is good to go when those guys arrive for our away game.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like you have a fun job.
Yeah, it entails a lot, keeps me busy, so enjoy it.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight. Best of luck, and can't wait to ride to the airport with you next Saturday at UAB.
We'll see you, Andy.
All right. That's Jacob LaFrance with us out here. He is the Director of Player Personnel for UTSA. Up next, we're going to talk some women's hoops. Kristen Holt will join us. Texas Farm Bureau insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunner football games when you show proof of membership at the ticket office. Visit texasfarmbureau.org/sports to learn more. The Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from walk-ons and from Learfield. We are back out here at Walk-Ons. Hey, Roadrunner fans, our partner Sport Clips Haircuts is giving away a once-in-a-lifetime game day experience. Go to sportclips.com/UTSA for more details and to register to win for the November 10th game versus the FIU Panthers. Kristen Holt joins us. She is the head women's basketball coach at UTSA. Welcome to the show tonight. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good.
You've got a season coming up with an exhibition game on the 2nd, and then you'll open for real against Concordia on the 6th, if I got that right. Is that right? Yeah,
correct.
Concordia.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the season. What are you looking forward to the most this year?
Well, I really like the team we're working with this year. I think the just the attitude and the approach of our team has changed a lot from last season, and I think the way we finished the year certainly helped going into the off season, but we worked harder. We spent more time in the gym. Our kids did, and I just think that we have a better approach, a better mentality, and it's going to result in good things for the future.
I got a chance to meet one of your players this summer and into the fall. Tyja Hawkins has been doing some features for us on our football pregame shows, and she's getting better. She's really doing well with it, so you can tell her that, and I've told her that herself. But just talk about her and some of the other players on the team that you're going to have some leadership from as they come back.
Yeah, Tyja and Marie Benson are two kids that we're going to count on heavily. They both play inside and can score and rebound, and Tyja was probably our most improved player over the summer, just put a lot of time in, worked on her left hand, has some post moves that she didn't have last season. So we're excited for both of those kids. They're both juniors. We only have one senior on this year's team, so we're relatively young. We've got some holes to fill, but Marie Benson's sister, Barbara, was a freshman last year, and we just think she has great things ahead of her and is going to do a lot of things for us. And then KK Donald is a point guard that's a sophomore, and she's going to run the team and play a lot of minutes for us.
Isn't it great when you have a player and you say, okay, the season's over, here's where you need to improve, and then when they show up in the fall, they've improved on what exactly you told them to do?
They have. I mean, I think that every kid, that's the thing that's been great about this group is they're very teachable and coachable, and they all made some improvements in different areas, and that's what you want to see. And our team's just going to continue to get better. The process that we're in is one that I think is going to, really play out well. You've
got some interesting games on the schedule. I see Texas is on there again, and a chance to go back up to Austin and play the Longhorns.
Yeah, they're top 10 in the country, and they're very, very good. We're going to Seton Hall's tournament, and that should be a good competition in an area of the country that most of our kids have never been to. And then we have our own Thanksgiving tournament, which is always competitive, and it's a good schedule leading into our conference.
What about Conference USA this year? Who are the teams there?
Well, UAB is the pick to win it, and they pretty much had everyone back from last year's championship team, so they're very good. But, you always have the Western Kentuckys and the Middle Tennessees that year in and year out are very good, and they're going to be right there at the top as well.
I know we touched on this last year when you joined us for one of the Steve Henson shows. I was very disappointed when the Spurs decided to move the Stars out of town. I thought they did so much for the entire sport of women's basketball. And the players, the Becky Hammonds, the Sophia Youngs, and the Vicki Johnsons, and all those people that were here really helped all the other women's basketball programs in town. But the WNBA is still out there, and it's still on TV all the time. So the sport continues to grow, doesn't it?
It does, but you're right. I think when it left San Antonio, that was left a void because we would spend time even going to their practices to watch, and spend time with them and learn some things. And to not have them around. So we follow them to Vegas, and we keep an eye on what they're doing there.
Yeah. And Dan Hughes was always amenable to all that, wasn't he?
That's right. And he, of course, won a championship this year with Seattle, so that was neat to see.
What about some of your newcomers this year on your team? Who you kind of count on the most there, and how's that gone?
Well, we don't have a large roster this year, and the 3 freshmen we brought in, I think, are all going to play a lot of minutes for us, and they're going to be very good Conference USA players. They're all talented and work hard, and we've got 2 from Kansas and 1 from London, England. So, again, we think that they're going to help us.
When you get freshmen on campus, the one thing that's always hard, no matter what sport it is teaching them to learn the speed of the game. You can practice all you want, but when they throw the ball up in the air, the game gets a little faster, doesn't it?
That's right. And, even AAU doesn't prepare them for that. So I think that these kids, though, have really adjusted well. They don't hold back. They don't act like they're freshmen and that, they've got to take a back seat to anyone, and that's what we wanted them to do. We wanted them to compete.
When you look at the San Antonio area schools, high schools, how's the women's programs around town?
Very good. And we're obviously we can't talk about specifics, but we're doing well in the area as far as recruiting, and we want to focus in this area. We want to keep some local talent here because we think there is enough to help us, and so our focus has been not just San Antonio, but the state of Texas in the whole. You
want to win every game, and every coach always says, I want to be in the NCAA tournament. I want to be in that championship game in the conference tournament. Besides that, what are some intermediate goals for this team this year?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We all want to win the championship, but I think realistically where we're at right now is if we could better ourselves from last year and have a better pre-conference. We really struggled last year to win games. We only won 2 prior to the conference season, and that was kind of hard to overcome mentally. So, if we can get off to a better start this year and get some wins under our belt, we hope to improve upon last year's finish, which was 10th. And we were picked 12th preseason, which that doesn't indicate necessarily anything, but
that's just a bunch of guys like us trying to figure out who's better than the other one.
And you're not right.
Most of the time we're not.
No, but we'll see. We've got a lot of growing to do, though, yet.
All right. Kristen, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck this year. When we have the Steve Henson shows in January, we'll have you on some more.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Kristen Holt with us out here, everyone, the women's basketball coach at UTSA. Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel invites you to come and play. Located in Eagle Pass, Texas. You're just a short drive away. Visit LuckyEagleTexas.com for more. Steve Henson will join us next. We'll talk men's hoops as the Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from walk-ons and from Learfield. We are back out here at Walk-Ons I-10 and Huebner in the Huebner Oak Shopping Center. It's the Frank Wilson Radio Show. It is presented by Methodist Healthcare. Methodist Healthcare is the official hometown healthcare provider of UTSA Athletics and San Antonio's most preferred health system. For all your healthcare needs, go Roadrunners. And Bud Light is an official sponsor of UTSA Athletics, reminding you to enjoy responsibly. Frank's out recruiting tonight. We've visited with Jacob LaFrance, the recruiting coordinator and player personnel director. We also visit with Kristen Holt, the women's basketball coach. Up next is Steve Henson, and we're 2 weeks away from UTSA and St. Ed's. The season's getting here quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's upon us. It's been it's gone quickly, as the preseason always does. You always feel like you want a few more practices, but the guys are certainly looking forward to playing games.
Yeah, coaches want to practice. Guys are ready to start playing and putting scores on the board, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's always the case. But the new rules allowed us to start a little bit earlier this year. We're coming off of a summer where we had our guys around a lot more. We're in the weight room a ton, and we took our foreign tour to Costa Rica, which allowed us some extra days of practice. So once we did start official practice a few weeks ago, we felt like we were a little further along than we typically would be.
All right, let's talk about this year, because you've got so many guys coming back from last year's team with Keaton Wallace and obviously Javon Jackson and Giovanni DeNicolaou's back for his junior year. Nick Allen's a senior. Hard to believe he's been here 4 years already. But just a bunch of guys from last year's 20-win team.
Yeah, we've got a great returning core, a group that's really developing in terms of leadership, security, all the intangible things. Those guys are doing a great job for us. We've got a core group of guys that we know what to expect from. They're going to play great defense. They've helped us establish some good things on defensive end. They're going to rebound like crazy. They're going to play unselfishly. They're all about winning. And then we're able to bring in new guys that fill some roles that we need filled and fill in the gaps and bring energy. And I think it'll be a nice blend for us.
Talk about those new guys. What do they bring to the team?
Yeah, we've got several new guys that will help us right away. Atim Bior is a big, strong. Just look out there, and our team overall looks a lot stronger than we had in the past. I think that's one thing people will notice is just the bulk that we put on over the summer. But Atim is a big, strong guy, 6'7". I guess he only weighs 225, but you could say 245, and I'd believe it. He's just a presence, and he's got good feel. He can do a lot of different things. He can score, rebound, very good instincts passing it. Just gives us that body that we were lacking at one of those forward spots, which allows Byron Fronin to slide over and play some small forward. But
is he looking forward to that?
Byron does. Byron is so good in both spots. But there's times when he just likes to overpower the guards, and if Atim's out there letting Byron slide over a little bit, it'll give Byron that freedom to do that. So hopefully we can play those guys together a lot. A couple other freshmen will come in and have a big impact. Doak or Duck or Adokie. I don't know what you're going to call him.
All of the above?
Yeah, I try to call him Doak. Most of his teammates call him Duck. Very, very good player. Smooth, kind of. You don't notice all the things he's doing. Just got a great feel for the game. He's shooting it very well right now. Another 6'2", 6'3" guard to go along with those other good 6'2", 6'3" guards that we have. Our backcourt will be terrific. Tamir Bynum's a little tiny feisty guy. Comes in there and can do some things that no one else can do defensively. On the ball, can pressure and stir things up and just be a pest on the defensive end.
You get Adrian Rodriguez back from his injury this year, and it was a shame to see him go down so early last year.
Yeah, Adrian Rodriguez was a true freshman for us last year. He was really starting to come around right when the season started. Was coming off of a previous knee injury and was really getting in great shape, played very well in our scrimmages and exhibition games. First regular season game was off to a great start and then just planted the jump stop with no contact and tore his ACL, so he's been out, and looking forward to getting him back in there. He's an undersized interior guy with strong as an ox and tough and good hands and good skill level.
We're going to play Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in back-to-back games this year in the preseason, and it's kind of like our version of the Bedlam series, isn't it?
Yeah, we got Bedlam on a Monday and Wednesday. We get them both, but that'll be good. People around campus are excited. I think we'll have a great atmosphere in there November 12th for Oklahoma. We played the week before that. We played St. Ed's before that, but the Oklahoma game is the one that a lot of people have circled on their calendar. It'll be a good opportunity for us. Obviously, powerful program. They come in here with a bunch of really, really experienced guys, but our guys will be up for it. They'll be fired up.
For the first time in I can't remember how long, Middle Tennessee wasn't picked to win the conference this year. They obviously lost a ton of seniors, and they lost their coach as Kermit Davis went to one of the Mississippi, I believe. So the conference seems to be more wide open than it's ever. We were picked 5th. I don't know. I didn't get to vote on that. I picked us higher and put some more pressure on everybody.
Yeah.
But where do you assess the conference this year?
Yeah, there will be some similarities in the fact that the teams at the top are going to be really, really good again. Some of the teams that have been at the bottom have new coaches, so they'll be trying some new things, maybe rebuilding phases for some of those programs. But the Conference USA, those teams at the top have been terrific. 4 straight years we've gone to the NCAA tournament and won the first round game against elite programs. So as you mentioned, Middle Tennessee's kind of been the standard. Those other teams have been good. UAB's been good. Western Kentucky will be good this year. Marshall, went and knocked off Wichita State in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
So those teams will be good again. Western will be good. Marshall will be good. Old Dominion's just
traditionally good.
Yeah, and they're so good defensively, and you talk about big and strong and not give you anything easy. They've developed a real nice culture there where they got a chance to win every night. So it'll be tough at the top like it always is.
We have a unique schedule in the conference this year in that the Final Four games aren't set yet. We won't know who the Final Four teams are, where we're playing, when we're playing, or how we're getting there until February 16th. The idea is to hopefully get another team in the NCAA tournament by the best teams playing each other.
Yes. You want to break it down for everybody?
That's all I got right there.
You want me to do it? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So we'll play everyone once, with the exception of UTEP, which is our travel partner. So we'll play UTEP twice, everyone else once. And the whole league will do that. And then at the end of 14 games, we'll get placed into pools, pods, with the top 5 teams being in one group together. Hopefully we're in that group. And if that's the case, then we know our last 4 games will be against the other really, really good teams.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we get 4 more high-level opponents on the schedule, which should help with all the metrics and the computer rankings and all that. And if you finish the season strong, you've got more quality wins and get a better chance at an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. And whoever does win the conference tournament gets the automatic bid, and hopefully we'll get a higher seed. Our teams have represented very, very well with some low seeds. We need to get our representative needs to go in there with a higher
Marshall
seed.
won last year as a 14.
Yeah. So there's 2 objectives with that. Well, there's a lot of objectives. Those are the 2 main ones. But I think it'll create excitement. If the team struggles during the regular season, slides into that bottom pod, they're going to be hungry for any win they could get.
Right.
And they're going to have 4 chances against other teams that may be struggling. So I think across the board it's interesting. It's unique. It'll be something a lot of people will be talking about. And there's still some questions, and we'll have to see how it plays out. But I think it brings something special to our league.
All right, Steve, thanks. We'll have your radio show starting January 7th, I believe, whatever that Monday is, that first Monday in January. So
sounds good.
Look forward to that. Look forward to 2 weeks from now calling some basketball.
Thanks so much, Andy.
All right.
See ya.
Steve Henson with us out here on the Frank Wilson radio show tonight. Enchanted Rock Vodka and Rebecca Creek Whiskey are proud sponsors of the Roadrunner Sports Network. Raise your glass to the UTSA Roadrunners. Always drink responsibly. Laura Groff will join us. We'll talk about UTSA volleyball next as the Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from Walk-Ons and from Learfield. We are live at Walk-Ons, wrapping up the Frank Wilson Radio Show. We have another segment to go after this one as well. And for those of you on our flagship station, Ticket 760, we're on early tonight. The Rampage begin at 7. Whether you're moving, remodeling, or just cleaning out some space at home, Life Storage helps make it easy. Call 844-LIFE-STORE or go online at lifestorage.com. Life Storage, it's your life. Store it with care. Women's volleyball coach Laura Groff joins us out here at Walk-Ons. How are you doing?
Good, Andy. How are you?
Doing great. You have a huge game coming up Friday night with Rice, and that's the only loss in conference so far, and first place is on the line on Friday night.
We sure do. So we, everybody's putting such big weight on this one match, but really we have a lot of matches left to play, and so do they. And, it'd be nice to go into this match and win and make us tied. Both have one loss. But our goal this whole year is just to get better and better and better and get ready for the conference tournament, knowing that even if we did win the regular season, it would not get us a bid in the NCAAs, and our goal is to go into the NCAAs.
Yeah, you've been there. You want to win that conference tournament, peak in November, late November. So talk about the team and how they're progressing towards those goals.
Wow. Just over excelling. I mean, we've been put in quite a few situations where we thought that we weren't going to win, and something just happened. Somebody made the spectacular play. Of course, you get a little luck. Someone made an error on the other side of the net. But we're just asking some young kids to really step up, and some of our veterans, are just playing spectacular volleyball. And just their leadership in general is helping these young kids really buy in and feel better about themselves and know that they have a key role. And so it's an ultimate team progression of us just getting better and better and better and really understanding what we want of them, and that is the day in and day out drive.
Talk about some of those players that have really excelled for you this year. Who are your key performers?
We've had a lot. I'd say overall, the first touch is Shelby Williams, our senior libero, and our second touch is Mandy. Even though we run a 6-2, just their senior leadership has helped so much with leading Mia Paralis on the other end of the ball when we're on a 6-2. But our middles have been phenomenal. We're getting a lot out of junior middle blocker, Kara Till, and then sophomore middle blocker, Hannah Froschel. And, of course, we can't forget our freshmen. We have 2 freshmen starting, Hannah Lopez and Kirby Smith, and they're just doing an unbelievable job on the outside.
San Antonio's volleyball teams in the high school ranks have been pretty good. And you have a fertile recruiting ground to get to, don't you?
We do. Yeah, definitely. Have my daughter playing in that scene right now, and so – I luckily get to go out and watch her play and see the talent without counting as recruiting day.
Yeah, your mom. You're not the coach when you're out there watching
exactly,
her, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What about Conference USA? How good is it this year? I know Rice is up there with you, but what about the rest of the league? And you had 2 good wins last week at Marshall and Charlotte.
Well, it's funny because some people don't think that it's as good this year because someone like Western Kentucky, they lost 5 really, really good seniors last year. But I think it's even better because Western Kentucky was almost in a league of their own. And then everybody else we had the bottom of the pack were really, really weak. There really isn't a weak team. And I know there's some that, don't have as many wins. But the competition, there is not one match that we can take a team lightly because it's pretty well sound.
Where's the conference tournament this year?
In Marshall.
How was going there and playing them? I know that gym has got some history with basketball and everything, but what about
it's the worst place in the world to play. It's just
the worst place
getting there.
Just getting there, yeah. Yes. You have to go somewhere else to get there.
Yeah, we just did that this past weekend, and it's not fun. It's a beautiful drive. We went from Charlotte and drove up, through the Blue Ridge Mountains, and that was gorgeous. But coming back, you got to go down to Charleston and then fly to Charlotte and then fly home, and you're at the mercy of 2 different airlines, and it's just not fun. It's a beautiful campus. The gym has history. It's a classic gym to play in. No air, lots of heat, and I asked them, can y'all not have that heat on for the conference tournament, please? Open a window, something, because it was beautiful outside. But we feel very fortunate that we had the opportunity. Because we never know when we play the teams once. If we're going to get to play at home or away, and we got to play them at home. So now our young kids have been in that gym, and we feel very fortunate we got to play Marshall at home this year.
Well, good luck the rest of the way, and hope you can get to that conference tournament and get a W and end up in the NCAA tournament in December. That'd be fun.
Sounds great. Thanks, Andy.
All right, Laura Groff joining us out here this evening, volleyball coach at UTSA. Wendy's uses fresh beef on every hamburger every day. Try it for yourself on a Dave's Double and taste the difference fresh beef makes. Fresh beef's available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. We'll put a wrap on the Frank Wilson Radio Show presented by Methodist Healthcare in our last segment. Coming up next, the Frank Wilson Radio Show from Learfield. We are back out here at Walk-Ons. A reminder that Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunner games when you show proof of membership at the ticket office. Visit texasfarmbureau.org/sports to learn more. And the Frank Wilson Radio Show presented by Methodist Healthcare, the official hometown healthcare provider of UTSA Athletics and San Antonio's most preferred health system for all your healthcare needs. Go Roadrunners. All right, I'll give you some dates to get on your calendar right now. Coming up on this weekend, on October 26th, that's Friday, the women's volleyball game against Rice, 7 o'clock in the Convo. Women's basketball starts November 2nd with their exhibition game, and November 6th, the season gets underway for real against Concordia. November 7th, UTSA takes on St. Edwards in the Convo, and the big game on the 12th of November is the OU game. Get all your tickets for all of this, 458-UTSA, and online at goutsa.com. Basketball starts in just a couple of weeks, so it's going to be a fun season for both of the teams. Next week on Halloween, on the 31st, we're back to our regular time out here at Walk-Ons. 7 o'clock, Frank Wilson, a couple of players will get you ready for the UAB game and get you all the things going on that are pertinent to that. We'll see how the bye week went for the team, the practice sessions, and also the recruiting trips that all these coaches went on. Remember, they can't really talk about players, specific names and specific people, until they actually sign those letters of intent when that comes in late December. I think it's December 20th this year, 19th, somewhere around in there. That Wednesday in December, right around there, is when the early signing period is. And that's really become the biggest signing day, bigger now than the February date that we've been has kind of as a national holiday for so many years. We have 2 Tuesday shows coming up on the Frank Wilson Show in November. The shows on 11/6 and 11/13 will be Tuesday shows, and that's because the basketball teams play on Wednesday on the 7th and 14th. The 7th at home against St. Edwards and the 14th at Oklahoma State. And we'll have all those games for you on the Roadrunner Sports Network, which includes Ticket 760, the iHeart app, and GoUTSA.com. And the only 2 home football games in November. The season's already into the final month starting next week. FIU on February 10th is a home game. North Texas on November 24th. And I should say November 10th and November 24th. Those are the 2 games coming up. You'll need to get your tickets, 458-UTSA, and online at GoUTSA.com. My thanks to Frank Wilson for joining us this evening before he headed out recruiting, to Director of Player Personnel Jacob LaFrance, basketball coaches Kristen Holt, Steve Henson, and volleyball coach Laura Groff. Have a terrific night, everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday. No game this week. It's the bye week for UTSA. We'll see you next week on the Frank Wilson Radio Show Wednesday night out here at Walk-Ons at 7. Have a great evening, everyone. Good night from Walk-Ons and from Learfield.